When my oldest son was 8 years old, he got the flu. He had it a few times as a toddler, but this was the first one he's old enough to remember experiencing. It was just a standard stomach bug, and it lasted just a few days, but it was his first run-in with the grossness and the stomach pain that are, of course, par for the course when you get that kind of illness. I remember that he was camped out on the bathroom floor overnight during the hardest part of the sickness. Have you ever had a night like that with your kids? The lateness of the struggle brought out his dramatic side. He became so melodramatic. I actually pulled out my phone to get some footage because I thought it was really funny. Not the greatest parenting move, I know. And I'm actually not going to show you the footage because it would embarrass him too much. But in the video, he's on the floor of the bathroom and he's saying things like, "Dad, this is the worst pain that anyone has ever felt." And he was saying like, "Will I ever feel good again?" Like I said, just a few hours later, he was feeling better. And listen, even though I can look back on that night on the bathroom floor with a humorous eye, I also see it through the lens of a father who really, I love my son. I don't want him to suffer. Sure, there are lessons to be learned by going through struggle, and everyone gets sick every once in a while, but if we're up to me, I'd spare my kids from that kind of illness. I actually think that's really similar to how God sees us. God's plan for the world was soured. It was broken by our sin. And he allows illness to exist in this season of human life. But just because he allows it doesn't mean he likes it. In fact, God loves wholeness and health. And he shows us that through Jesus' miraculous ability to heal people. The people that Jesus heals in the Bible represent God's bigger plan of hope for all humanity. That if we follow him, someday he will heal every pain and struggle that we have. He's going to wipe every tear from our eyes, and we'll live in perfect connection with him forever. In fact, even these physical bodies that we have are important to God. We usually think that once we die, our bodies are going to stay here, and that we're going to float up to heaven as a spirit. And it's true that our spirit lives on after death, but God also promises us that our bodies will be transformed, and that we'll have new spiritual bodies as we live with him forever. What does that even mean? Spiritual bodies? Now, honestly, I don't know exactly. We get a glimpse of what those spiritual bodies are like in the resurrected Jesus. But there are still so many questions that are left unanswered. The specifics of what forms our bodies will take in heaven is still one of those mysteries that we're going to have to wait to fully understand. But what we can understand is that our current bodies that will be redeemed for our place in eternity someday, our bodies point to God's ultimate plan for us. We learn from our bodies that God values healing, and that it's good to pray for healing for ourselves and others. We're also reminded in our times of struggles with health challenges that God's plan isn't fully finished yet. This isn't the way it's going to always be. So whether we're healthy or unhealthy at any particular moment, we can be challenged to put our focus on God, who in the end will make everything right. Hey, I know this is a complicated topic, but it has huge implications on how we live our current lives here in this world. Instead of thinking that spiritual things are good and physical things don't matter, we should see the value of both and the interplay, the enmeshing that exists between them. And further, we should adopt Jesus' love for healing and be part of bringing hope and relief and physical assistance in any way we can to those who are hurting around us. In today's session, we're going to think about how we can join Jesus in showing his love by pursuing healing and care for people in need.